What's up everybody, Subaruwrxfan here for another car review. This is of course the 2015 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Final Edition. Huge thanks to Tom Henry Chevy for providing me with this very sweet Evo to review for you guys today. So about the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Final Edition, well, they're not making any more of them. This is the end of an age, sadly, and it's just really unfortunate, but it is what it is. So they're doing a proper send-off here with the Final Edition, which is finished off nicely in white here, and some of the other unique accents of the Final Edition are these gray Enki 18-inch wheels, a black aluminum roof that's nicely painted there, and then you have the special badging, of course, in addition to some stitching on the inside, and a little bump in power as well. But yeah, I mean, the Evos, they've been around since 2008, and they haven't changed the exterior of them since 2008. I think it's funny, though, that the Subaru WRX STI continues to slowly morph into a front end that resembles this one. It really was ahead of its time, and I think even here in 2017, it still looks very good. And I mean, it's very bold with that large rear spoiler, of course, and they just put everything, you know, the rear diffuser there in the bottom, and from every angle, it still is a very cool looking car. Whereas for the interior of the Final Edition Evo, well, it's dated. But I mean, like I said, they haven't changed this car really since 2008. But anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, that's one of the unfortunate things about the Final Edition here is either because they said something because of the side impact airbags, they had to remove the Recaros for 2015. So this has these standard seats, not the glorious Recaros that I loved in my Evo review that I did several years ago. So you have these seats that they're okay, but honestly, that was one of the greatest things about the Evo was those Recaros. These are fine, though. They are certainly softer and more comfortable. I will say that, because the Recaro seats were very aggressive. So if you didn't want seats that were that aggressive, this will certainly be a nice change. But for those that are looking for something sporty, these aren't really the sportiest of seats. They're not terrible seats. They're, you know, soft and comfortable, but it's still just wish, you know, for a car like this, especially one that looks like it does, you would hope for, you know, the Recaros and, you know, more aggressive seats. Next to the steering wheel in the Evo, though, which is pretty nice even to this day. You know, it's a nicely leather wrapped wheel, has a good 9.3 position and a few buttons on it here to control the radio and Bluetooth and things like that. And so overall, pretty good wheel. Next to the gauges in the Evo, which are your basic gauges. Again, they haven't been changed since 2008, but they are, I mean, they were ahead of their time, really. They had a little digital screen there that was fully color, and, you know, gave you a few displays there, in addition to the all-wheel drive, you know, a little readout there, but you also have your basic trip information and things like that, and then you just have your nice-looking dials there, which are clear, easy to read, and so, I mean, nothing excessive, but, you know, has all the basics, and that's all you really need. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here. Now this is something, they did update the head unit here, so it now has satellite radio and it's touchscreen. It's a small screen and it's kind of oddly placed with the volume / power knob being the only knob and being all the way over to the right, and when there's clearly plenty of space here on the left hand side. But otherwise, you know, it's pretty good. You know, just the basics, obviously just the radio, and that's it. And the good thing is that's a double DIN sized unit, so you can put any kind of aftermarket head unit in there that does Apple CarPlay and get as fancy as you want if you'd like. So it's very easy to swap, but it's a, you know, a decent enough radio, and you know, that gets the job done, although that's something you're certainly going to want to upgrade if you have any interest in infotainment or anything like that. It is refreshingly simple, though. The rest of the interior, all you have are 3 knobs, and you know, you got your different climate control functions there for each of them, and that's it. I mean, it's the simplest interior, and that is really refreshing with millions of buttons that some of these cars have these days. It's very, very simple and just a breath of fresh air in that regard. But yeah, I mean, the knobs all feel good again, unchanged from 2008, but still good nonetheless. As far as storage space in the Evo here, it's not bad. So there's a pretty large map pocket here in the door with a bottle holder, which again was something you didn't see on cars too often in 2008. Coming over to the center here, you do have a tiny little cubby here, and what looks like there would be a USB jack, but there isn't one, even though the head unit is saying there is one. I can't find a USB jack in here anywhere. So you have that little cubby, and then right beneath it you have another little cubby, which is basically just a cigarette lighter and ashtray kind of setup there. And You might be able to hear that, the squeaky plastic. That's one thing about these interiors, not high quality, but again, even back in 2008, this was focused on being a very high-performing vehicle, not a luxury car, you know, just something cheap with tons of horsepower, and so, you know, all the plastics and stuff are certainly cheap. The center armrest back here wobbles, you know, and feels cheap. But again, this car is for the type of person that doesn't care about interiors and, you know, just wants an amazing street legal rally machine, honestly, and that's what you get with these. But anyway, other things here, storage wise, you have 2 cup holders, and whenever you do open up that little center armrest, you have a good amount of space there as well to fit all kinds of things. And so overall, the storage capacity is pretty good. Backseat space in the Evo is very roomy. I mean, I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself, I have several inches of legroom, better than a lot of even modern 4-door cars these days that, you know, like to claim they have a backseat, but they're hardly usable. This is very usable, and of course, because of the boxy design, you have tons of headroom as well, and so very usable. You know, you can easily fit 5 people in here without a problem. Trunk space in the Evo isn't as spacious as the backseat. It's actually a fairly small trunk. I'm not sure. There's some fluids back there and things like that, so I guess for some reason that interferes with the trunk, and so it makes it a pretty small trunk, honestly. You can fit one medium to maybe large size suitcase in there, but that's really about it. You know, a couple duffel bags, enough for, you know, your usual amount of groceries and things like that, but certainly the smallest trunk in this segment. All right, so start up and go for a drive. The 2015 Final Edition Evo here just has the key fob here, and you just leave that in your pocket because it isn't keyless entry, but it is kind of push button start. You just twist where there normally would be a key, and it starts right up. All right, so setting off in the 2015 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Final Edition. Well, first thing that you'll notice heading off in one of these Evos is the very high clutch catch point. And I checked, and other reviews also say that it has a very high catch point. So it's not just this one. It is an absurdly long clutch throw, and it just the catch point. I mean, this car only has 5,000 miles. The catch point's right at the top of the pedal there, really, which is kind of crazy. But once you get used to that, though, I mean, it's a really nice thing to drive. As far as, you know, visibility is amazing. I mean, you have a huge windshield. Hood drops down nicely, so you don't even hardly see it. View out of the sides is great with large side windows, and view out of the back is pretty good. You have that wing that dissects your rear view a little bit there, but it still is very easy to see out of it, not hard at all. But that clutch, as you can hear me revving excessively, does take a little getting used to. So that's one thing if you've you know, driven other manuals, but you haven't driven an Evo, just to prepare for. Other things you notice is compared to the last time I drove an Evo, it's a much more upright driving position here because of these you know, more normal feeling seats, but the ride is very smooth, really. I mean, it's very communicative and very old school, and this is one of the ways where this car, having not been updated really since 2008, has its advantages. I mean, you have hydraulic steering that has a little bit of an odd weighting to it, but actually just it really feels eager, like it wants to dive into corners, and very natural feeling. You can feel everything, and really it's just all the suspension, you can kind of feel what you're going over, what type of road you're going over, not in a harsh way or anything. It's just very communicative, and you just really feel one with the driving experience in one of these. All right, so let's turn that on the straight road here and see how it does. Here we go. Woo! There it goes, it roars. This Evo Final Edition here, they gave it a little horsepower bump, 12 more horsepower over the previous version, 303 horsepower, 305 pound-feet of torque, and so it gets this thing up going pretty well. Now these, I think they're around 5 seconds 0 to 60, but it's really just, this engine, it only makes power above 3,000 RPM, so it's that, again, a very old school feel to it, which is just great, because it really does just love to rip, and it has just a really fun feeling to it. You know, you definitely don't have power everywhere, but that's okay. That's just part of the character and the personality of the Evo. Another funny thing about the character of the Evo is that it's, you know, just the 5-speed manual gearbox here. If you go for the GSRs or the Final Edition here, of course, the Evo 10 with the MR version, that has the paddle shifters, and that has an additional gear. But here for the manual, it's just 5 speeds. You're always kind of wishing there was a 6th gear, especially whenever you're up at higher speeds. But you know, again, it kind of keeps it in that medium of the power band, and so you know, you keep it right at you know, the 3,000 RPM mark on the highway, and so it'll just be able to pull and makes for good passing power. All right, so this car lives for back roads. So now let's go onto this back road here. This is where this thing comes alive. This thing, it's all about the back roads for sure. I mean, the straight line performance is good, but you know, this thing just, they handle like nothing else, and that's really the shining thing about the Evo. And I think, you know, that was even Subaru's goal for the longest time, was just trying to get Evo handling. And I think the 2015 and up are very, very close, if not there, but this still has just a lightness to it that you don't even get even in the brand new STI. It's just, I mean, the steering is just so sharp, and I mean, there's a little bit of body roll, but this thing, there's a secret sauce to the Evo, and I still can't figure out what it is that just makes it feel like nothing else in corners. I mean, there are other vehicles that handle just as well. You don't even have to be going fast around a corner. You just take it slow, and it just really feels just spectacular. It's just fun. It's effortless. It's just so lightweight. I mean, like I said, it just handles like nothing else. Maybe, I mean, the tires are certainly part of that and help with that, but it just, the chassis control, and I don't know what it is. It just, these things feel about 500 pounds lighter than they actually are, because they weigh around 3,500 pounds for the curb weight, but you would not know it by driving one. I mean, it's just, it feels so much lighter, and honestly, I think this has a quicker turn in than even like a BRZ or something like that, which is under 3,000 pounds. I mean, it's just like a flea. Just, it darts around everywhere, and it's just really spectacular, the handling for these. Other things to note about these Evos, the brakes are really spectacular. I mean, you got a ton of bite right as soon as you dip into the pedal there, and they're, you know, big old Brembos, and especially for a car that is as light as this one is and feels as light as this one is, I mean, these brakes certainly haul you down to a stop very, very quickly. So, I mean, it's just, it really is confidence inspiring, and I say that on a good amount of my reviews, but this, it's like, it's effortless confidence. It's just, it's not because it's like crazy over-tired or anything like that. It just, you know, the tires aren't crazy. It's just, they just made a really good formula here with this chassis and the setup for the suspension and stuff. It's really spectacular. And the extra couple of horsepower here in the final edition, I'm sure certainly doesn't hurt with attacking back roads. But yeah, it's just sad that Mitsubishi's decided to drop out of the sport sedan segment here and not fight the WRX or all the other exciting competitors like the Focus RS and the Golf R now, because Mitsubishi really did make a fantastic vehicle in the Evo here. It is just one heck of a car, and you really just have to experience an Evo to get it, to get how it takes corners and how it drives. Like I said, there's plenty of faster things these days, especially. There's lots of stuff that handles just as well, if not better than this, but just the way this makes you feel going around corners, the way that it handles is unlike anything else, really, and it's just, gonna miss it. It's a shame, because I think that a next generation version of one of these could have been really, really mind-blowingly good. So unfortunately, Mitsubishi's decided to go for the crossovers and go into survival mode and sell what sells instead of, you know, making the enthusiast stuff, and, you know, that's understandable. They have to stay in business. But I hope that one day the Evo does return, because it's so awesome, and it's always, you know, the more competition the better, because it drives everyone to get better and have everyone improve. And so as we go around a nice tight corner here, it's just it's fantastic. Just such a great driving experience. So yeah, I mean, the Evo might not be competitive on paper anymore. It, you know, might not have an interior that's up to par for the times, but it certainly delivers in the fun department in better than a lot of the other vehicles, honestly. I still think this actually takes corners better than a Focus RS as far as the feeling and the lightness and the simplicity of the way that it handles. And it's just, yeah, I'm gonna miss them. But anyway, if you are interested in this final edition, this one here is for sale at Tom Henry Chevy at the time of filming this video. All the info is going to be in the description below for it. If you're interested in it, definitely give them a call or an email, and they'd be more than happy to help you out. This one it's actually nice because it's used, because these would crack over $40,000 brand new, but now this one's got about 5,500 miles on it, and it's only number 125 out of the only 1,600 that are coming to the United States. So pretty early production, low miles, and this one's under 35,000 bucks. So if you're interested in it, definitely give them a call. It's not going to last, but yeah. Good old Evo, we're gonna miss you. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.